Good morning, if it's morning. This is Akiva, uh, and I'm here to talk about migraines because I think I could help some people. Now, I don't think I can help everybody. I'm not a doctor and not a trained yoga teacher or anything like that, but I'll just share my experience and maybe it can help some people. So, I started getting headaches when I was a kid, and I got them very severely um, throughout my childhood. And I don't know if I would call them migraines at that point. They were just bad headaches. And then um, my mom took me to a doctor for them once, and he said, you probably get migraines when you're an adult. I don't know if he planted a seed in my brain or whatever, but it's definitely happened. When I was 18, I got my first severe migraine, and I remember it very clearly. I was I had been exercising, and I stood up, and it felt like a nail, like a huge nail was just driven right through the top of my head. And I fell down. The pain was so intense, I fell down. And I was laying on the ground and I was just drooling. Like I couldn't even move. And there was just drool coming out of my mouth. And I was just paralyzed with pain and totally nauseous. It felt like I was going to die. Right. And after it subsided, I wasn't even sure what that was, but then they started happening all the time. I started getting them very frequently, and I couldn't open my eyes. It was just the most excruciating, nauseating pain I can imagine. It was so painful that I would throw up. I was so nauseous from it, and I went to the doctor again for that, and they'd give me an MRI, and they were like, "There's nothing wrong with you. You're fine. Here's some pills for headaches," and pills didn't help at all. And so I just kept going with my life, and I remember like I would feel a headache coming on, and it would just be like just anxiety. I would be like, "No, man, this sucks. I know it was gonna happen, and I wouldn't know how to stop it. I wouldn't know how to stop it. Sometimes I would like try to eat a bunch of food or like try to take a nap or something, and sometimes it would not happen, but usually they would happen. And I lost many days of my life uh, to this pain, and this went on for almost 20 years, and it's a long time. But they would come in clusters. So they were actually, I was diagnosed with cluster migraines, and they would come in waves. And sometimes they would come. I'd get them like almost every day for about a week, and then they'd stop, and I'd get a few weeks off, and then they'd come back. But then sometimes it was just totally random, and I'd just get one, and then they would be triggered by all kinds of things. It felt like almost anything could be a trigger. Not getting a good night's sleep, being in bright lights, not eating food in a timely way, or whatever, like getting too much sun, getting angry too often, or stressed out. Um, and it was really hard. And I tried everything. I took different drugs. I went to acupuncturists, different types of massage. I prayed about it. I did mantras about it. I tried everything I could think of, and nothing really ever worked. And I just kind of figured that was my life. I get these headaches, and I just kind of accepted it. But then one day, sitting in the kitchen, back when I was married, I'm sitting in the kitchen and I looked up at my ex-wife, my wife at the time, and I look at her, and all of a sudden there's just like colors flowing all around her face, and I've taken psychedelics and stuff, so I I thought I was having some kind of transcendental experience. It was like the visuals of a strong dose of mushrooms, and I'm just watching these like cascading colors descending all around her face, and then I look and the colors are everywhere in the whole kitchen, and I'm just sitting there like, wow, I'm having a transcendental experience. I'm like breaking through to some other dimension, and but then they got so thick and I couldn't barely see anything, and I couldn't even see her face anymore. It was like so blurry. These colors they started on the side, but then they just filled everything in, and and then the headache hit me, and it was excruciating pain, and that headache lasted for a full month. I went to bed. I wake up in the middle of the night, it was there. I woke up in the morning, it was there. And it was a horrendous headache the entire time. And I could barely eat. I was so nauseous. I thought I was going to die. I really thought I was going to die. I was like, this headache is going to kill me if it's even a headache. Like, I probably have a brain tumor or something, is what I was thinking. And we went to a doctor, to a specialist, and they gave me an MRI, CAT scan, and they said, there's no tumor. You're fine. Your brain's not swollen or anything like that. You're just experiencing cluster migraine, the severe one. And they gave me a bunch of pills, which did not help. And the headache continued. And I was thinking, kind of like at the end of my rope, like getting pretty depressed about it, like really depressed about it. And then I was talking to my brother one night, and I was telling him about it, and he said, you should, I just watched this video about this guy called the Iceman. And so I looked it up. It's this guy, Wim Hof, Wimhof. So I watched this video, and this guy, he's like climbing up Mount Everest in his shorts, no shirt, and sneakers. He's submerging himself in frozen lakes, and he does all these breathing exercises. And I thought, maybe I'll just try that. He seemed very inspiring, so I just tried that, and I started doing the Wim Hof method of breathing, and it actually stopped my headache, and that was 5 years ago. I have not had a serious headache in 5 years. And I would not credit it all to Wim Hof because I've done a lot of other techniques that have helped. And there's times when Wim Hof is not really appropriate. So what I want to talk about is how to not have headaches. At least for me. And I think it can help a lot of other people. So the first thing that I learned was the Wim Hof method. And I'm just going to talk about it briefly. I'm going to run through several different techniques and how they might apply in different situations. Now, I'll just get started. So the Wim Hof method is pretty fun, and it can feel really good. You can enter all of these breathing techniques can help you enter into alternate states of consciousness, which is just enjoyable, right? But this is what I meant to say a second ago. What I really want to say is that when the headache is full blown, when it's like already taken over, that's the hardest part to get rid of it. All of these techniques work best before the headache takes over, because there's moments, there's different points, right? There's a point in which there's no sign of a headache at all. That's the best time to do breathing exercises. And then the next best is you start to get those signs that you know it's coming. Everybody who's suffered from headaches for a long time knows what those signs are. You get like a warning, like this is coming, right? If you get severe migraines, you probably have some warnings. I hope you do. Maybe not everybody does, but when you feel like it might be coming on, the early stages, that's the time when you have to go for it. And sometimes you have to go for it for a long time, like a really long time. So I'm realizing this video is getting kind of long, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up here in a minute, and then I'm going to make a second video just showing the exercises themselves. So I'll just say a few more words then. So you want to have the headaches, before the headaches start is when the exercises really need to begin, and sometimes, depending on the severity, you might have to push it. Now, I made it 5 years without a severe headache, but that doesn't mean that I haven't had days that were really challenging when I felt like I could get a headache like almost the whole day. Like those warning signs were there for the entire day. And that has definitely happened to me. And I never let the headache through, but I kept up with the breathing, and I kept up with the different practices I'll talk about with water. So sometimes you have to keep up a lot. You have to do quite a bit of work to make this work. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes just a little bit goes a long way. And as you progress and as your body acclimates and your lung capacity increases and your breathing habits get better, it does get a lot easier. And there's very few days that I really feel like I have to work or even think about headaches. I almost never think about having one. It's pretty rare. Maybe once every month or two I'll be like, "Oh, I better do some more stuff or I'm not going to get one." So there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Migraines are not a fact that you have to live with forever. Just because you suffer from them doesn't mean you always will. It can change. It changed for me. So I hope to see you in the next video where I'm going to go over these exact exercises. All right. Thank you so much.